Hi, this is the Business Guy. In this video, we're going to talk about the 10 different types of trusts. In fact, I've set up trusts for a living for almost 33 years. We have a team of attorneys on staff. I'm the CEO of the largest company in the world that protects assets from lawsuits. And we'll start out and dispel a couple of myths about trusts. And as a bonus, in the end, we'll talk about the biggest thing that trust scammers do to take advantage of those who are uneducated about trusts. And so you won't be a victim. You'll really want to see the end of this video. Now, talking about trusts, imagine a world where your assets, your cherished home, your investments, your bank account, your meticulously curated collection of Pokemon cards, even your trusty yacht are shielded from the storms of financial uncertainty. And that's the power of trusts, your local companions on the high seas of wealth management. Now, before we set sail, let's dispel some myths. First, trusts aren't just for the mega wealthy or the eccentric. Second, they come in a variety of flavors. For example, race cars and dump trucks are both vehicles, but you need to select the right one, whether you want to drive around a racetrack really fast or haul tons of gravel. Second, a trust isn't a magical document. It's just a contract. It's written however the drafter writes it, and that person can draft it any way they want. However, the laws that govern trusts can be quite specific, and it's very unlikely a trust is going to work according to the law unless it was drafted by somebody with experience and knowledge of the law. And by the way, while you're watching, you can click subscribe right now because when new videos come out, you'll get notified. Okay, the first type of trust we'll talk about is the living trust. And let's break the living trust down into two types. The first of the 10 types of trust we'll talk about is the revocable living trust, RLT. The revocable living trust allows you to maintain control of your assets while they're in the trust. You can still access and manage them, and you can revoke, that is, change the trust at any time. Upon your death, the assets in your trust pass on to your beneficiaries according to your instruction. Now, revocable living trusts offer flexibility, allowing you to keep your hand on the rudder and adjust your course as needed so your heirs, such as your children, get your assets handed to them as you wish. And that can be done without the intervention of lawyers and courtrooms. Now, if you don't have a living trust or something similar, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have a will, somebody is going to have to hire a lawyer and bring the estate before a judge before your loved ones receive your assets. So if you don't have a will, the judge gets to decide who gets your assets. If you do have a will, the judge gets to decide if the will is valid. Your heirs need to bring your estate before the courts. Your living trust, however, can give all of your assets to your children outright or can distribute money to them over a period of time. For example, your trust can have a third-party trustee, such as a bank, provide for your children's living expenses and education until they turn 25. At 25, they can get 1/3 of your estate and they can get the income from the remaining portion. At 30, they get another 1/3 of your estate. And then at 35, they can get the rest. Or you can simply have the trust make quarterly distributions to them and they never touch the principal. So think of a trust as your personal chauffeur that you use to control where you move your assets and even reclaim them if the need arises. The second type of trust we'll talk about is the irrevocable living trust, the ILET. Once assets are transferred to an ILET, you relinquish control and ownership. This provides stronger asset protection against lawsuits and creditors depending on the jurisdiction. However, it is more difficult to modify or revoke the trust after it's been established. And this type of trust is commonly used in second marriages where one of the spouses wants children from the first marriage to inherit some of the assets. Trust type number 3, the testamentary trust. This type of trust is created in your will and it becomes active upon your death and distributes your assets according to your instructions. And this can be helpful for managing assets for minor children or beneficiaries with special needs. Which brings us to the fourth type of trust, the special needs trust. Created for the benefit of a disabled individual who receives government assistance, it allows them to receive supplemental income or assets without jeopardizing their eligibility for government benefits. For example, instead of the disabled person owning the assets in their own name, it is now owned in this special trust. So that way, the value of the assets that they hold is below the threshold in order to continue receiving government benefits. Okay, the next category we'll talk about has two types, and that's the charitable trust. For those with a philanthropic spirit, charitable trusts allow you to leave a lasting legacy by supporting the causes that you hold dear. Two most common are as follows, and this brings us to the fifth type of trust, the charitable lead trust, or CLT. This type of trust pays income to a charity for a set period of time and then distributes the remaining assets to your chosen beneficiaries. Now, this can offer tax benefits while supporting your favorite charities. Number 6, the charitable remainder trust, or CRT. This pays income to you or your beneficiaries for a set period of time and then distributes the remaining assets to a charity. These little gems give you a tax deduction when you donate your assets to them. You also get to receive income that these trusts generate. And then when you die, the assets go to a charity of your choice. Now, this allows you to get a tax deduction right now to receive income while you're alive and ensures a future donation to a charity. Number 7, the Totten Trust. That's Totten, or POD account. This simple trust is created by adding a pay on death, POD, to a bank account. These documents are often provided by the bank when you set up the account. Assets in these type of trusts pass directly to the named beneficiary upon the owner's death. This brings us to trust type number 8, the living will trust. This type of trust combines a living trust with a living will, allowing you to designate someone to manage your financial affairs if you become incapacitated. For example, right now, my own mother is in hospice care in a nursing home. Now, it is a very difficult situation, but I set up a trust and put this type of provision in her living trust so that we could manage her affairs if something like this were to happen. And we had no idea it would, but right now, she has advanced dementia and is not able to manage her own financial affairs. So it was a tremendous relief that I'd put this provision into her living trust, so that way I can manage her financial affairs for her. My sister and I can make sure that she's taken care of, and right now she's in the best elder care facility that money can buy. So finally, we'll focus on the fiercest of them all, my personal favorite, the Asset Protection Trust. The Asset Protection Trust can also have a estate planning provision, so it can act like a living trust while at the same time protecting your assets. Now, there are two types of trusts that we'll talk about, and think of these as impenetrable fortresses, guarding your assets against the cannons of creditors, the treacherous reefs of lawsuits, and even the occasional siren song of an opportunistic relative. But remember, even the sturdiest ship needs a skilled captain. Asset protection trusts offer potent protection, but they are not a magical shield against all financial storms. A 2021 study by the American Academy of Estate Planning Attorneys related that families utilizing asset protection trusts saved an average of $300,000 in lawsuits and creditor claims. That's like recovering a hidden treasure chest brimming with gold doubloons. So how does this financial fortress work? You simply transfer your assets, your bank account, your stock market portfolio, into the trust. Then a trustworthy trustee company / law firm, your loyal first mates, take the helm, managing those assets according to your wishes. So the key thing is you turn your assets over to the trust that you created for your own benefit, making them more difficult for creditors to seize. However, there's a crucial choice to make: domestic or offshore asset protection trusts, and each has its own advantages and drawbacks, which brings us to trust type number 9, domestic asset protection trusts. These type of trusts keep your assets within your home country, offering greater familiarity and accessibility. However, depending on your jurisdiction, they may not be as effective as shielding your wealth from legal challenges as offshore trusts. Results-oriented judges penetrate domestic trusts left and right. The increasing theories of legal liability are consistently drifting in the direction of the attorney and what will most readily line his or her pocketbook. After all, who writes the law? Lawmakers. And what is the most common profession of an elected lawmaker? You know the answer: an attorney. And when he or she is in office, there have been centuries of writing the laws to the benefit of their own profession. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to write your own rule book for the benefit of your own profession? And finally, number 10, offshore asset protection trusts. On the other hand, they offer stronger protection than domestic trusts do because U.S. courts do not have jurisdiction over our foreign trustee company law firm. Navigating the legal landscape of a foreign country requires professional guidance. In fact, I've been in the asset protection industry for nearly 33 years as of this video, and according to our international associates, we have set up more offshore asset protection trusts than anyone in the world. In fact, you can get more free information by visiting assetprotectionplanners.com. How to protect yourself from unscrupulous trust scam. What that also means is that someone can call that contract anything under the sun. We have people call us and say, do you know anything about a Meridian Fortress Trust? The Bulletproof Spendthrift Trust? Those are just labels that some trust promoter picked out of the clear blue sky. I mean, I've had clients bring us trusts that they paid for that named God as the trustee, where the trust assets include all of the assets of the federal government, and where the client was named as beneficiary of the trust. Sure, it would be nice if these things worked that way, but that type of trust will get destroyed in front of real attorneys and real judges. In fact, I know a handful of people who got arrested for using these type of trusts. So don't be fooled by the name of the trust. I don't care what it's called. I just care what it does, and that it was written by somebody with knowledge of the laws and the court cases, and that the trust has a track record in actual courtrooms, not just some wackadoodle concept that some conspiracy theorist con artist cooked up in his basement to try to get his hands in your pocket. So hire a professional. Ultimately, the type of trust that you need depends on your specific circumstances and your goals. So consult with an experienced attorney or consultant, your trusted financial navigator. Such an experienced professional can help you chart the course through the legalese and choose the trust that best fits your situation. Remember, trusts are not just for the wealthy few. The cost can vary depending on your needs and the legal expertise that you seek, but it's an investment in your financial future, an investment worth far more than any pirate's hoard. So don't let your financial future drift aimlessly at sea. Secure your wealth in a trust for your personal haven from financial storms. And remember to subscribe to the Business Guy channel for more insightful voyages into the world of finance. We'll be exploring specific trust strategies, real-life examples from successful entrepreneurs, and even uncovering hidden tax benefits to help you navigate the financial waves with confidence. Until next time, this is the Business Guy.